Hi, I'm William, and today I'm going to show you how to replace the blower motor, show you how to replace the wiper blade, and today we're going to install these mirrors on the excavator.
Welcome to Service Call, a mechanic's guide to service, troubleshooting, and repair. And on this episode,
Plugged it in. Now we're going to turn the ignition on. Let's leave our mark here, and we're going to do a nice cleanup, okay? I'm getting old, right? So I figured I'd just pull the whole arm off. You'll notice there's a bamboo pole next to us. Okay, so previously we troubleshot the heating problem on this excavator, and we found that there is power at the heater motor, but the heater motor was not turning. So we've ordered a new one, and we're going to install it. I'm going to show you how to install it, how to change it, and we're going to do a pre-check before we install it. So we got to start by pulling this light gray cover off and this dark gray cover off. If you remember last time, we had to remove these little storage cubbies as well. So they're coming off first. And they're coming off right now.
if you'd like to see how we diagnose the fan motor, check out episode 1. The link will be in the description. And if you like the series, let us know by leaving a comment below. Help support this channel by subscribing below and hitting that bell icon. And if you have any suggestions for video topics, write them in the comments below.
Okay, so we got this loose already, this bottom cover. Okay, and now we just gotta loosen these 3 bolts up here, and she should come off. Okay, so this one here is actually holding this one right down there at the bottom. So once we get this one off, the bottom one will come out right away. Back to 10 mil. Okay, just like that. So we found that our heater motor was actually burnt out, not working. And that's why we need to get in there again. These machines get very dusty as they're getting used, so. Okay, let's get it out of here. Okay, so before we actually remove the other motor, the old motor, and install the new one, let's just try it out, okay? So what I did is I disconnected the cable. You can see it right here. I plugged it in. Now we're going to turn the ignition on, and then we're going to hit the fan and see if it works. Okay, so we should have different speeds. If we go up to more, yeah, there's speed number 2. And there's speed number 3. 4. 5. And 6. There you go. Fan works. It's hard to get well, we could probably use a ratchet, but usually these aren't very tight. Okay, so we'll remove this. It's only three little screws that are actually holding it in place, and they're pretty easy to get at. A lot of the times when you're working in not just heavy duty mechanics, but in any type of mechanics, is sometimes you can't see what, the job that you're trying to do, so you have to go by feel, the size of the screws, the bolts, and things like that. And that's one thing I tell my students as well is, they have to get their senses working for them. We got to use sometimes our ears, our hearing, our sound, our smell, right? And that's how we can find some of these symptoms as well when we're troubleshooting. Okay. And of course that comes with experience. I was I was working with my son the other day, and we were changing his struts on his vehicle, and there was some areas where he couldn't see. So I told him, you have to go by feel, right? And it was a little difficult for him to feel his way through, but I had to. I ended up doing it. But the thing is, you know, it's something that we need to develop, and that comes with experience as well. Is your senses. Remember, our patient doesn't talk, but it does give us symptoms. So we need to interpret these symptoms in order to troubleshoot and to find the cause of the issues, of the problems. Now, this should just pop out. I hope we don't have to pull anything else out. Sometimes in the trade, they say you just gotta hold your tongue the right way. So, if you hold it the right way, it just happens. You just gotta find that one way to get it out, and there's our problem right there. Okay, it does spin, but there's probably the brushes are probably burnt out, or it could have an internal open inside the electric motor itself. So we're not going to pull this apart. We already know the new one works, and we're just going to install the new one. Okay, and like you saw, just by holding your tongue the right way, it comes out. Okay, so let's just get rid of this. So there's the new one. You can see where the three holding screws are right there. 1, 2, 3, and they're actually pretty simple to get at. You saw that it only took me what, a couple of minutes. Okay, so now let's see if we can get it back in place. We'll just have a nice feel inside first, make sure nothing's in the way. Sometimes one thing you got to watch is they'll have a seal in here, okay, all around the circumference. Okay, so you got to make sure that it hasn't fallen over or it's not ripped. Okay, and this one here doesn't have a seal, but just the design of it creates a little dam. Okay, so the other piece falls right inside, and it doesn't allow air to come in through the body itself. So it's specifically drawn in right from the center, okay, and it's pushed outward. Okay, so let's see if we can get this one in without any hiccups. Oh, there it is. Okay. Get that breather in there, or a cooler. There it is, it's in place. Let's put our 3 screws in place now. And like I said, I'm right now I can't see what I'm doing. I can't see the hole or the job I'm doing, but I can actually just feel my way through, and I can identify exactly where it needs to go. The other thing that you guys will get good at is actually holding the bolt and starting it, okay, with different parts of your fingers. Okay, just with one hand. Sometimes you can only get one hand in there, and you only have enough room to actually move the index and the middle finger. So sometimes you get them in there, and then you can start turning it just like that. Okay, those are other things that you kind of develop through time as you need it. This one's not too bad. There's some room in there. And the other thing is, you'll notice I'm working with my left hand. I'm a right-handed guy, but you know, you learn to use whatever you can. It's just the way it happens, guys. It's the need of it. Now the other thing is, make sure you don't tighten any screw or bolt until they're all in place. Okay, because sometimes you gotta wiggle the component a little bit. Okay, so don't tighten anything until all the bolts are in place. It's something you learn as you go through the trade. You know, several times in my younger years, you know, you go in there, you start tightening one bolt, and then you can't align the other one. You can't get the other one in place, so it makes it more difficult. This one, you know, I've actually worked on automotive applications as well. You know, so basically passenger cars, and I've done these motors before on some of passenger vehicles, and some of the passenger vehicles, and they're sometimes very hard to get at. Okay, sometimes you have to remove part of the dash. You got to remove some panels, and even heater cores. Okay, there should be a heater core in here somewhere, and to change them in automotive applications is very tough sometimes. Could take hours just to get to it. You might have to remove half the dash or most of the dash, okay, before you can actually get to it. So these machines are not too bad. You know, you get some room, even though we're a little tight here, you can see, but it's actually easier to get at. Good. So I'm going to reconnect it and we're going to test it again, just one last time. Okay, so once again, we'll try the speeds. There's our first speed, we can hear it. Second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Okay, is it blowing? It should have been blowing, yeah. Okay, so she's working. So now all we got to do is just assemble it, reassemble it. Okay, so I know I look comfortable here, but I got to move. Now, before we leave and consider this job done, let's leave our mark here and we're going to do a nice cleanup. Okay, we're going to make sure that everything's nice and clean before we get out of here, and that way they know that we've been here, that I have been here. The cleaner that I swear by is called Spray 9, and I've used it for years for removing grease, grime, dust, dirt, fingerprints. Every time you go to a machine, you got to make sure that it's clean. The alternative is another one called Simple Green, okay? And it's been very good stuff. It removes everything. So if you ever want to leave your mark somewhere, this is how you do it. Okay? It's in the quality of work, workmanship you do, craftsmanship you do, but at the same time, it's how clean you leave your area. Especially nowadays, we have a lot of ecological disasters, so we want to make sure that anything that you spill, anything that you see is dirty, contaminated, just make sure you clean it and dispose of it properly. And most of the time they want you back. I've had operators saying, I want this guy to service my machine or work on my machine, just because of how you look after it. You know, the mark you didn't leave, you know, because if you leave your mark, you know, if you leave oil everywhere, fingerprints, yeah, they're gonna know it's you. They're not gonna want you back. Now, we're not gonna clean the whole machine because that's not what we came for, but at least people will know that you were here. And that's what it looks like. Now we can say that the job is done, and that way they know that we've been here, that I have been here. Okay, so here's the old piece. Here's the old part, old heater motor. And we got the new one installed. We retested it. It's working fine. It's blowing fine. And basically, you know, we did some troubleshooting on it. We went step by step. You know, always went through the easy things first. We checked the fuses. Next thing is we checked power at the plug, right? There was power there. So we suspected that the problem was inside the motor itself. We ordered a new one, put the new one in, tested it before we installed, which worked. And of course, after we installed it, we retested it, and it's working good. And that's how you replace the heater motor on an excavator. Okay, so last time we checked out this machine, we actually looked at the wiper system as well. Okay, and we troubleshot all the connectors. If you remember, we pulled out the little cover there under the module. Checked the connectors for looseness. We looked at the pins. Okay, we checked for power as well. Everything was working fine. So what we're going to do now is we're going to replace the damaged wiper blade. Okay, so to replace this wiper blade, all right, there's two little tiny screws there, right on the arm. But because it's a little bit difficult to get at, and I can see somebody's been in there before, So it could be that the screw is a little bit stripped. So what I'm going to do is pull off the whole arm, okay, and just work on a bench with it. All right. So to replace the wiper blade, okay, because you can see right there it's all damaged at the end, okay, it's actually missing. I don't know if you can probably see what it should look like. Okay, there's a new one here on my right hand. You can see that it's missing the whole wiper section. All right, it's just ripped right off. Plus it's all bent out of shape, so we're going to put a new one on, okay, and it should look like this. Okay, and this one you can easily do it up there, but you know, I'm getting old, right? So I figured I'd just pull the whole arm off and just work it on a bench in case these screws give me issues, because sometimes they're a little tight, then you could strip the head of it, right? So I didn't want any issues with it, so I'm just going to do it right here on the bench or our step, okay? And you'll see how easy it is to change these. All right, the other thing is this one here is held on with 2 screws, all right, because of course it's a excavator, you have to make it a little different. But if I took this one off my vehicle, okay, this one here just snaps in place and pulls off, all right, and then it's got a little lock on it, so you can easily slide it in and out, okay, and remove it and change it, okay. But on this excavator, like I mentioned, it's got the screws, so we're gonna undo these 2 screws and get this changed, and you'll see it doesn't take very long. If these screws don't give me any problem, we'll be done in like 2 seconds. And no, they're tight, they're loose. Yeah, these screws are loose.
It's important to do routine maintenance checks on your machine. Even the smallest things, such as having a broken wiper blade, can make operating on a job site that much harder. If you'd like to learn how to do common maintenance procedures, check out our other videos. And if you're interested in getting into the trade, take a look at our Q&A videos.
Make sure you don't lose the screws. Yeah, that's the old one. And the new one. Just like that.
We upload videos frequently, so remember to subscribe and hit that bell icon to stay up to date. We have a lot of new videos coming out, from inspections to tool tours, so don't miss out. Thanks for watching up to this point. Now, back to William.
Okay, so here we're using a number 2 Phillips tip. Okay. There you go. And there you go, it's replaced. Okay, so we got the new blade on there. So what we're gonna do now is go reinstall it. And we're going to align it as well. So as we replaced the blade, I also noticed that the stop, okay, or the parking mechanism is also broken. You can see it's broken right here. You'll get a better view of it later, but I'm going to install this back on, and we're going to order that stop mechanism there. Okay, so we'll put this one back in place. Wiggle it a little bit. Yeah. Okay, and then you just position it in place. Okay, and that's where you can see up there, the park should actually hold this up off the window. Okay, but you can see it's broken. So that's the position it should be in. What I'm going to do now is close the window. and then we're going to be able to adjust it and close it. Okay. There it is. She works. So that's how you replace the wiper arm and blade on the excavator. Alright, so this machine has two different styles of mounts. Okay, you can see this one here has a jaw type bracket on it, and this one here is just a bolt and a pivot on the back, so you can actually move it around. Okay, this rectangular one is more for rear views, seeing what's behind you when you're backing up, moving around. This round one, okay, they're both convex. You'll see they're convex. This one here is more for making sure that there's nothing next to you when you're moving or spinning around, turning. Okay, making sure that there's nobody next to you, next to the track or any other components or items. This one here is going to go right on our cab, right next to the operator, and this one, this round one, is going to go to the on the right side of the step, just by the engine. All right. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to put this one in place first. Okay, so you'll notice there's a bamboo pole next to us. Because we're here on the west coast, it rains in winter, and today it's pouring. So we actually put up this little tent here, this tarp, and this here is holding the center of our tarp, holding it up so we don't get wet. So that's why we're fortunate today that we're still a little bit dry. If you were wondering what the bamboo is for. Sometimes I wish I had a third arm, you know. But it doesn't work that way. Okay, you'll notice I brought it down to my working level, and then I'll raise it back up. Remember, these mirrors shouldn't stick out that far, so, you know, the way you mount it, you don't want to mount them out here, so you got to mount them in as far as possible. Keep them close to the body, but they need to be effective so that you can actually see what's behind you. These machines move very quick. They spin around very quickly. So visibility is important. We're not going to tighten it too much, just enough to, just snug so that we can adjust it. Then we'll put it back in its position up top. Just like that. That's pretty good right there. Okay, that looks good. So we're going to leave it there. I'm just going to tighten it up now, and we should be done. Okay, there you go. There it is. Give it a nice wipe down. Make sure it's nice and clean. All right, and there it is. Okay, so now we're going to go and install the other one. right. Like I was saying, these mirrors always they take a beating. But visibility is crucial, so we got to make sure as the operators break them, we got to replace them. You always need to have good visibility. Okay, and we mentioned before that this convex mirror, this round one, is to actually see what we have down there. Just to make sure that the operator can see what's next to him so he doesn't run over anything or anyone, right? Clean it. All right. So, something like that. If you can see me here now, that means we've installed it properly. You can see that the operator has a very good view of the side of his machine and what's behind him. And you'll see that as we go over to the other side, okay, that mirror that we installed on there, he should be able to see me here, right next to his machine. So if there's anything on this side of the machine, he should be able to see. Make sure he's not running over it or about to knock it over. Okay, so if you can see me here, that means we're good. There's actually one more mirror that we need to install, but the bracket is so bent out of shape that it was actually damaged from an impact, and it broke the bolts, and it's twisted as well. So we're going to need a torch to actually put it back into place. We're going to have to drill and tap the broken bolts and make sure that we can remount a proper mirror again. We've installed the mirrors. The operator now has excellent view of his surroundings. So we've also installed the heater motor. We've made sure that it works. We actually ran up the engine and warmed it up. So it's blowing nice and warm now. And we also replaced the wiper blade. Okay, so we were able to do all those jobs that were troubleshot last time. That's how you install mirrors, wipers, and heater motors on this excavator. So if you're looking for replacement parts, make sure you visit FortisHD.com. So to support the channel, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, just put them in the comments below.